Remember this guy? Wish we didn't know him at all. Disgraced New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, the big AC, the Albany Don. Things aren't looking good. Not so good for old Love-Gov right about now. Cuomo was charged for alleged forcible touching, a misdemeanor sex crime in New York, and now we're waiting for his arrest, literally. I doubt they'll perp walk him in front of the cameras. You know how that is. But how did we get to this point? Andrew Cuomo used to be a liberal darling, the guy in the line for the White House. He was next, his turn, remember? He would go on CNN and do stupid stuff like this with his brother Fredo. I mean, Chris.
There's only one company in the entire country that makes these up in Maine, all right? Here's the swab. Is it true that this was the swab that the nurse was actually using on you, and that at first it went into your nose and disappeared, so that in scale, this was the actual swab that was being used to fit up that double-barrel shotgun that you have mounted on the front of your pretty face?
The problem is we're in the midst of a COVID pandemic. Hundreds of thousands of people were dying, and these two clowns are playing around on TV with big fake Q-tips. It's the governor of New York he's with. That guy was set to make $5 million from a book deal. Remember that? He was going to write a book, and they were going to give him $5 million. I'm not even sure if they still did or not. But then his kingdom, his little kingdom, let's call it a big kingdom, his fiefdom started to crack. And the nursing home data came out. Remember that? 5,000 people died in nursing homes because Cuomo decided to put COVID patients back into nursing homes. Should have kept them separate. Those people had comorbidities. They were old. They were susceptible to COVID. But he put them back into nursing homes. Bad enough, but then he lied about it. He cooked the books. Remember, he said that didn't happen. Turns out there were thousands upon thousands of people died because he did that. And then, one by one, 11 women came out and accused Cuomo of sexual harassment. 11 women. Here's one.
I thought, he's trying to sleep with me. The governor's trying to sleep with me. And I'm deeply uncomfortable, and I have to get out of this room as soon as possible.
So there was another one. That was one. Sherryville is another one. She took a picture of Cuomo kissing her against her will. Sherry, by the way, is standing by with Gloria Allred to weigh in on this whole, the new developments. They're breaking as we were coming to air as well. But she said Cuomo said he wanted to kiss her because, oh, God, because he was Italian. Watch.
That's what Italians do, kiss both cheeks. I felt shocked and didn't understand what had just happened. But I knew I felt embarrassed and weird about his kissing me. I am Italian, and in my family members kiss. Strangers do not kiss, especially upon meeting someone for the first time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's no way Cuomo would say his actions have anything to do with where he comes from, right? He wouldn't do that, would he?
I actually learned it from my mother and from my father.
All right. Come on, Andrew. I'm Italian, too. There's no way that someone would say in my family it's okay to just go up to random strangers and kiss them because you want to. He learned it from his mother and his father. Is that true? Hey, Ma, is it okay if I grope a few women and abandon my dog? After all, I'm Italian. We're Italian, right? Wink, wink. Well, then he goes on to blame other things. Watch.
I've never crossed the line with anyone. But I didn't realize the extent to which the line has been redrawn. There are generational and cultural shifts.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so the world's moving and you're not moving fast enough, Andrew, so just grope women and hope it's going to be okay. No, it doesn't work that way. Oh, and of course, it's not your fault. It's generational. It's your heritage, your Italian background. Oh, and it's the media, right?
This is about politics. And our political system today is too often driven by the extremes. Rashness has replaced reasonableness.
Okay. Half-hearted apology, I get it. But it's only bad if people are offended, I guess, in your crazy little world, Andrew.
But if they were offended by it, then it was wrong. And if they were offended by it, I apologize. And if they
No,
were
it's not
hurt
if.
by it,
It's
I
not if.
apologize.
It's not if. It's not if. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can say if they were offended, like you're going to decide who's offended and who's not. Listen, you held their careers. He held their careers in line, folks. If they were going to proceed to go further, it was up to Andrew Cuomo. He's the governor. He's the CEO of the state. Many of these people worked for Andrew Cuomo. You can't do it. You can't judge whether or not someone's offended by it. They may pretend they're not being offended because they don't want to lose their jobs. These are all bad defenses, Andy. I wonder who told you to say that. Chris, his brother, Chris Cuomo, was taken off television. When it came out, he was advising his brother Andrew Cuomo on how to deal with the scandal while also sharing TV time with him. Some more bad advice.
To wait for the facts from the Attorney General's report before forming an opinion.
No, we did wait. We did wait, and Letitia James didn't have kind words for you, sir. Take a listen.
These interviews and pieces of evidence reveal a deeply disturbing yet clear picture. Governor Cuomo sexually harassed current and former state employees in violation of both federal and state laws.
That's unbelievable. That was the one who Andrew Cuomo said, look into these allegations. Guess what happened? Those allegations led right to your front door. That also happened once when you're looking at corruption in the State Assembly, New York State Assembly, right to your front door, sir. Not a good guy. Earlier today, the Albany Sheriff's Office, who filed the complaint against Cuomo, held a press conference. Here's what they had to say.
We have a solid case. Our investigative staff did a marvelous job. I'm very proud of the work they did. Again, they took a very high-profile investigation. They methodically broke it down. And I couldn't be more proud of them. They executed a lot of search warrants. They went through a lot of data. And I would also like to say thank you to Davis Polk law firm down in the city. They were a very valuable and substantial asset to us during this, as well as the New York State Attorney General.
Now, did you hear that? New York State Attorney General Letitia James helped them. Earlier today, Letitia James announced she plans to run for governor in 2022. Cuomo is expected in court on November 17th, and if charged for a Class A misdemeanor, could face a year in jail or 3 years probation. Likely his political career is over. Politics, folks, it's a dirty game.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.